Continuing our coverage here at the NFL Scouting Combine for NBC Sports, I'm Connor Rogers alongside one of the top offensive players in this draft, in Quentin Johnston. Man, I know they got everybody running around right now, but you got a big smile on your face. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Blessed to be here. It's been an overall fun experience for me.
I'm so happy to have you here because you're one of my favorite players to watch in this draft, because not just the consistency, but the big plays, man. You are a big play threat. You had a long season, led to a championship appearance. What is it in your game that you take so much pride in? Because this is a deep wide receiver class.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
When teams
for sure.
sit you down, they want to know what's different about you.
Yeah.
I think the tape speaks for itself. But what do you say about that?
Obviously, being that 6'3", 6'4" receiver that can actually get separation and drop my weight at the top like I'm 5'8", 5'9", and then like you said, the explosive plays, my yards after catches is I feel like something that's been with me throughout my college career, and something that's worked out for me very well.
So when a team asks you, they said, listen, they lie to you. They said, we didn't start watching you yet. What game did we start with? I started watching you last summer. When we get ready for the draft, we do top fives. And I didn't know a ton about you besides that you had the big plays during the freshman season. But the touchdown in the end zone on the jump ball when you did the "You're Too Small for Me" celebration, is that at the top of the list?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just like you said, I probably direct them to that game first.
Sure.
That was probably I feel like I want to say my breakout game. Like even though I had games before that was pretty good, score some touchdowns here and there, but that was my first time having over 150 and then 3 touchdowns to complement that. So yeah, it was very fun that game. Obviously it was a lot of emotions. We were still losing at that time. I'm not much of a trash talker, but I don't know. It's just something on that play that came up at me.
It was funny to me because all your other touchdowns was just kind of toss the ball
for
back,
sure.
And that one, the emotion was there, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
And I think another aspect of it that's really fun when watching you is you're battle tested. You go against good corners.
Yeah, for sure.
Wide receiver can be tough to watch because when you get different guys, you don't know who they're going against at smaller school levels, whether it's Julius Brents or a couple other guys. Who were the top corners that you enjoyed having those battles with over the years?
Just like you said, Julius Brents, and then obviously Ringo. There's some of the guys who's not only gifted, athletically, but height-wise, weight-wise, they're bigger guys like myself. You don't always see that at the DB position. But those are two of the most physical guys I've went up against. Obviously they're rated high for a reason. They can go stride for stride with me. They play the ball, really good in the air. So, those matchups like that are always fun, and I'm looking forward to matching up against them in the league. What's
tougher when you see the corner across from you, the big, long press guy, or a shorter, twitchier but more explosive player?
For sure, the longer press guy. Just because you know what type of length and what type of reach they have. Because me being able to relate, but just not as a DB. Reach for sure. I feel like with the DB is everything. If he can get his hands on you, wash it to the sideline. That's for sure something that you have to battle with all game long. It's not something that's just going to come 1 or 2 plays like, okay, it's over. Like it's not over until the clock hits 0-0. So for sure battles like those are always fun though. Something to test yourself. You can test them as well.
What's something in your game that before you get to your first NFL training camp or even walk the stage for the draft that you go, this is an area that I want to improve on, whether it's releases, it could be a lot. I mean, the route tree gets bigger at the next level. It's kind of exaggerated, but it still does. Like, what's something you're like, when all this dust settles, I have a pro day, but this is something I want to hone in on? Yeah,
for sure. It's probably starting on Sunday or Monday when I touch back down in Dallas, Texas.
No breaks.
At all. Can't. Especially with a higher level like this, people that've been in the league since I was born. So they know the game very well. Their technique is to a T. So I feel like overall, just my technique in and out of breaks, being that bigger receiver, being that much faster in and out of my breaks, playing the high ball, and then ultimately playing as that bigger receiver, pushing guys off me when I need to, blocking, getting down to my position when I need to, and other than that, just small details, being not only physically ready but mentally ready as well.
I like that you brought up the blocking because the league has gone so much more towards outside zone running, and every one of these teams here, they're looking for wide receivers that don't only block well, but love to block well, and I know that you love that physical part of the game. Is that something that you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's something that I feel like brings a lot of competition and challenge, out of a DB and a receiver. So I'm all about competition. So that's something that I'm looking forward to.
It's player comparison season, and I know you guys do a good job of tuning all that out. And you're going to get a lot of lofty ones because you're a first-round player. But was there anyone that you watched either growing up or even throughout college? You go, I want to take aspects of his game and kind of mold it into mine.
Yeah. So obviously with the style of play right now, you'll be able to see this. But I wasn't always the biggest guy in football. I didn't even start off as a receiver. Started off as a running back, quarterback, kind of going back and forth with that.
Best athlete on the field.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And then middle school, high school is when I started transitioning to a receiver. So I grew up watching Tavon Austin, DeAnthony Thomas. Their famous college highlights. And what they're doing the whole time, they making somebody miss. They misdirection. So that was something I really studied a lot, like as a kid, without even knowing. Like every Saturday before a football game, like I'm in front of the screen, like replaying every single move they did and kind of just applying that to my game.
It's funny you say that because you do see it on film. Everybody looks at you before they watch. They go, okay, he's bigger receiver. We expect these possession plays. You got that human joystick.
Yeah, for sure.
And it surprises corners. Corners, they didn't watch the tape. When they go to break down to tackle you, they don't come to balance the same way.
Sir.
So that's a really funny thing to hear. When you look at just getting ready for this draft right now, and teams sit down and they go, listen, what is the one thing that we're getting from Quentin Johnson when you get to camp? Not that we're developing and we're waiting on, because some of these teams will look at you and go, you're our number one receiver right away. What do you say to them in that tough spot?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'm for sure for the challenge, and I feel like I'm ready for it, more than I've ever been, or else I wouldn't have, took myself out of college. With the help of my coaches, family, I feel like I have all the confidence in the world to go in there, make an immediate impact, and at the end of the day, just go in there and be a sponge, just soak up everything I can. Obviously the playbook is going to be a lot more, so I gotta, kind of take some time off before I even step on to kind of study the playbook, get in tune with the quarterback, and then, at the end of the day, like I said, coming to make an impact.
Does it help for you that I remember during your recruiting process, you flipped to TCU, and at the time, you're a huge recruit, and TCU's a good program, but not a championship level program. You get there, and you go through the whole process that by your last year, you guys make it to a title game. That's a true, I got here, things change from good to great. And in the NFL, there's a lot of that when you're a high draft pick. It probably helps you along the process,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I was kind of battling with, flipping from school to school. Obviously, that's a lot to put on a 17, 18-year, 19-year-old, just because that's a decision that's going to potentially set you up for the rest of your life. So you gotta really think about which direction you want to go, not even from football, but from a school standpoint too, because like I said, something that's going to set you up for the rest of your life. But yeah, for sure, I feel like I can have the same impact in the NFL. Coming in, like I said, been through that process, and then ultimately, help my team make it to a championship.
Does part of you like the fact then that you don't have to pick an NFL team?
Yeah,
they
for sure.
pick you. You don't have to go through that process again. And when you get there, it's okay. I'm here. They wanted me. It's go time.
Yeah, for sure. And then honestly, I feel like that makes you fall in love with the team, with the players, and then with the program that much more, because they want you. It's like, okay, they want me. I'm gonna do everything for them that I can because they wanted me.
All right, my last one, and this is a selfish one. Are we getting to 40 inches on the vertical?
Oh, for sure.
I think we've been there, right?
For sure. Yes, sir, for sure.
Awesome. Quentin Johnson, one of the human highlight reels of this draft. We love watching. If you haven't, go watch that tape. Thanks so much for the time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.